And we continue at 1:06 in the afternoon. Talk Radio 790 KABC, the John Phillips Show. Broadcasting live from the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa Living Room Studios, where I think I'm making my phone go dead early every day because I keep practicing with the video poker, so I'm ready to go when it's time to play for keeps. Mr. Randy Wings at the sports desk in Culver City.
John, as expected, the email has exploded today at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. A lot of people have a lot of things to say about Congresswoman and Senate candidate Katie Porter, including this listener who thinks that when she talks to constituents,
hello, everybody.
She sounds like Petunia Pig from the Looney Tunes.
Okay, now say cheese.
I see the resemblance.
Hello, everybody. Okay, now say cheese.
800-222-KABC is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. We're going through a rap that was produced by a local station in Sacramento. They wanted to spend a day with Katie Porter as she campaigned for the United States Senate.
That's right. So Eytan Wallace, who's the Capitol reporter for Fox 40, already went to a campaign event, which is where Katie Porter sounded like this. But then Katie Porter had to go home and do some laundry, so Eytan Wallace followed her home where she showed him that she has an exercise bike in the kitchen for some reason. And let's continue with this adventure between Eytan and Katie.
Her minivan says it all.
Oh, God. You called it the minivan was next.
I told you. You got to get every single prop in this. We got the whiteboard. We got the exercise bike in the kitchen. The only thing missing is the minivan.
I'm sorry. I'm having a really hard time getting past just how staged it is that when the TV reporter comes over, you have your daughter use your whiteboard to rank Taylor Swift songs. That is just so unbelievably staged.
No, but you have to think about it from this perspective. Most people don't pay that close attention to politics, so they don't know who's BSing them when they're BSing them. And she's just looking for ways to relate to people because she's running against a mortician.
What we're having for dinner, or did I buy their dance ticket, and what time's their water polo game?
Her minivan says it all.
This job is hard, and for me, this plate is a little bit of fun. It's a little bit of a reminder that...
She loves talking about her vanity plate. Katie Porter puts the vein in vanity plate.
Her minivan says it all.
This job is hard, and for me, this plate is a little bit of fun. It's a little bit of a reminder that, of who you are and what you're fighting for.
You mean OVERSITE?
I'm telling you, change one letter. One letter.
I'm sure people could email us which letter they think it is.
I'm surprised it hasn't been vandalized yet with that one letter.
4:22, and I don't know what I'm making tonight. So even as you're asking me about, do I want to run for president, I'm actually thinking about...
Oh, God, was he asking her that? Or is she saying, are you going to ask me that? Because so far, we haven't heard Eytan Wallace ask her that. But is she priming him? You're going to ask me if I want to run for president, right?
She brought it up first.
God. Well, if this Senate primary doesn't work out, maybe she'll replace Joe.
Well, I think America will like that voice.
This for president.
4:22, and I don't know what I'm making tonight. So even as you're asking me about, do I want to run for president, I'm actually thinking about, am I going to be able to prep something for dinner by 6 o'clock, or am I going to have to give up and order pizza?
I think she's ordering pizza.
That's quite an answer. As you're asking me questions about politics, I'm thinking about pizza.
Does Domino's have a rewards program?
I got to admit, I can't tell you the number of times. So maybe it is working that she sounds relatable. If I'm hungry and someone's having a conversation with me that I'm not particularly interested in, all I'm thinking about is the food and the drink.
Like, honestly, that's what's happening in the back of my mind.
Oh, boy.
Whoa.
What just happened here?
Let me turn the volume down on these headphones.
Well, if she is trying to run for president, she just did a Joe Biden.
4:22, and I don't know what I'm making tonight. So even as you're asking me about, like, do I want to run for president, I'm actually thinking about, like, am I going to be able to prep something for dinner by 6 o'clock, or am I going to have to give up and order pizza? Like, honestly, that's what's happening in the back of my mind.
Whoa. Did she just do a bump of cocaine between pizza and that?
I can say, as a junk food addict myself, just the thought of pizza shot her up to an 11.
Ay, ay, ay.
And now that she's thought of pizza and she's verbalized it, she will not be able to think of anything else until she has said pizza. Excuse me, pizzas. Because you never order just one large. You got to get variety in there.
Well, remember back in the day when Little Caesars was on every corner? You couldn't just order one. You had to order 45, and they were in all different shapes.
Like, honestly, that's what's happening in the back of my mind.
Most animated I've ever heard her, and it's about pizza. She is relatable.
All right, let's carve some pumpkins. Careful, I have the knives.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I wouldn't stand too close to her if she's holding a knife.
Did Eytan bring security?
Yeah, you ask her a question that pisses her off, man.
This is why he's buttering her up with asking her about running for president.
I don't know if they work union up there in Sacramento, but the after-sac health plan isn't good enough to deal with a knife wound.
Paul!
What was that?
She sounded like Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Okay, let's rewind this a bit. What is happening at Katie Porter's house?
All right, let's carve some pumpkins. Careful, I have the knives. Paul!
So she identifies that she has a knife in her possession and then lets out a war cry?
Paul!
Is that the noise she makes when she's tossing pumpkins out of the minivan?
Okay, see if you can find Hacksaw Jim Duggan, because when he would walk to the ring with a 2x4, which he would inevitably hit his opponent with right between the eyes, he would scream, "Ho!" before he hits the guy with the 2x4. Okay, give us her and then give us Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Give me a second here. I got to download it so we can go back to back here because this is pretty fantastic. I think we've got a new nickname for Congresswoman Katie Porter. So, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the wrestler from, is this back in the WWF days?
Yeah, this was the 80s and 90s.
Okay, so this is Hacksaw. And this is Congresswoman Katie Porter.
Paul!
I bet you she just stabbed the pumpkin.
Paul! Paul!
One more.
Paul!
It sounds like apples to me.
Careful, I have the knives. Paul! Polly,
Oh, she's saying Paul.
Oh. Wait, so she's the type that just stands in the living room and just screams at the top of her lungs so the kid comes down the stairs?
She does seem like the type.
Paul!
It does sound like she's going.
All right, well, we don't want Paul to miss the pumpkin carving.
Paul! Pollywog!
Pollywog.
And she called him that on TV.
Oh, boy. Does the congressional health care package include therapy for the kids that you're putting on camera?
God, I hope so.
Paul is her 15-year-old son.
I got these.
Oh, is this the one that she claims needed her help at 2 a.m. on advanced economic homework?
I think so.
Paul is her 15-year-old son.
I got these at Sprouts, and they were on sale. I was really happy. They were like 2 for $10 or something. They were really a bargain. So I'm just going to finish the task.
What keeps you up at night?
Probably pumpkins.
No, economics homework.
So I'm just going to finish the task.
What keeps you up at night?
There's a lot of Katie Porter and knives in this video.
Yeah, and with the history of domestic violence, allegedly, I don't know if I'd want that assignment.
I worry about California's economy. I worry about our ability to compete globally.
Is she winded after the pumpkin carving?
Well, she screamed ho before she stabbed it.
I worry about California's economy.
Yes, that is a heavy breathe.
Who believes that, by the way? What keeps you up at night? I know what keeps me up at night if I worry about missing a flight and sleeping in. I know that it keeps me up at night if you have a sick relative. Something big is going on at work, and if it doesn't go your way, it's going to make your life a little bit more difficult. You don't wake up at night or stay up at night thinking about California's economy. Who believes that?
I think we have pushed back into the inauthentic territory.
Hey, hello, everybody.
I understood this woman more when she was screaming at her child.
Paul! I worry about California's economy. I worry about our ability to compete globally.
That is not something you think about when you're going to bed. And if it is, you've got problems.
Oh, no. You know, I'll tell you, I wish I had a good night's sleep last night, but I was tossing and turning at 3 a.m., hoping and praying that our kids would do just as well on the math test as the Chinese.
And I think about things like we are not investing nearly as much in things like childcare.
Tell me about Mom.
She's a really hard worker, and
It sounds like a propaganda video now.
Yeah, what is this? North Korea news at 6?
Tell me about Mom.
she's a really hard worker.
And Eytan Wallace, he would love to do this for Adam Schiff too, but he's not going to be able to because there's no way Fox 40 has the money to fly him out to Maryland.
Yeah, well, if he's going to do the interview over at the 600 square foot apartment in Burbank, I don't know if you can fit an exercise bike in that kitchen.
Tell me about Mom.
She's a really hard worker, and she's a really great mom, too.
Going back to Mom, Katie Porter, how does being a mom of kids who are still kids really separate yourself in this race?
I mean, I think that I'm thinking about their future, right? Like
She is exhausted from carving this pumpkin.
Well, she did. You let out a war cry, that'll wear you out.
I mean, I think that I'm thinking about their future, right? Like, I'm wondering, are they going to be able to afford to live in California? So when people say, is California going to continue to attract businesses? That's not an abstract question for me.
What do you want the everyday California voter to know about Katie Porter when they see your name on the ballot?
Yeah, is that I went to Washington to fight for them.
Oh, boy.
Now we're back to being disingenuous, I see.
Yeah, is that I went to Washington to fight for them. I love living in California. Every time I get on that plane, there is a big cost to me. I am not there to make the cocktail party circuit rounds. I am not there to curry favor with the people in charge.
Are you still allowed to say that?
Wait, which one are you talking about?
To curry favor with the people in charge.
I thought that was in our DEI class.
People are now sending me Katie Porter memes via text message. I just sent one to you.
Oh, boy.
I am there to make sure that my kids and people like my kids have a better life. And that's it. And there are weeks that it feels like that is a fool's errand, and there are weeks that it feels like you're really making a difference in their lives. And I think my honesty about that is why California voters should trust me. That and I carve a good pumpkin.
Katie Porter, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, hello, everybody.
All right, one last time. Let's compare.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Well, we have been getting just a ridiculous amount of emails whenever we do anything about Congresswoman Katie Porter, and today is no exception. Michael writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com, and he wants to hear Hacksaw Porter married up with the axe-wielding woman from Pasadena.
Questions? Questions?
Now,
Get out!
this emailer suggested they might be the same person, so we may have to pay close attention to see if we can hear the resemblance.
Questions?
You be the judge. And Randy, if you missed yesterday's episode or any episode from the week before or any week before that, that's easy to listen to on the podcast.
That's right. Go to KABC.com, click on podcasts, or go to the Apple Podcasts app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You can listen to all the episodes that way. You can download the KABC app. Search KABC AM in the Apple App Store or the Android Store. Easiest way to listen live to this station whenever you're outside of the AM radio signal around the world. We've got listeners that are listening all over the place. And you can download all the podcasts, listen on your phone, listen on Apple CarPlay. And you can go back and listen to episodes from a week ago. Heck, if you wanted to, you can go back and listen to episodes from 5 weeks ago.
5 weeks!
You want to go back and listen to episodes from May?
May!
You can do that too.
And coming up later on in the month, we're going on the road.
That's right. Mark your calendars. Friday, November 17th. John and I are going to be broadcasting live at the brand new Gelson's West LA at West Edge on the corner of Olympic and Bundy. The Gelson's West LA at West Edge is open now. It's absolutely gorgeous in there. One of the nicest supermarkets I've ever been to in the entire country. They've got a craft beer, wine, and sushi bar. We're going to be hanging out there noon to 3, Friday, November 17th. So come down and see us.
In the meantime, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
Well, let's do that right now. 790 KABC welcomes Creed at the Glen Helen Amphitheater on August 31st. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com, but right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-790-5222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by Live Nation. Good luck dialing.
Coming up next, we're going to open up the KABC Crime Blotter. And this time, it's an Oakland edition.
Oakland, I love you, but you don't love me.
Oh, great. I broke my sound system. Hold on. I'll fix it. I will fix it. Okay. Now, can I play the song that I was trying to play, please? Okay. Let me just explain what I was doing here, Johnny. Right before we got back on the air at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com, somebody said what you got to do is you've got to marry the Katie Porter sound to the sound of the Hacksaw Jim Duggan intro video. And I was trying to do that, and I forgot to reset the sample rate. So this is our bumper music for right now.
Hacksaw Jim Porter.
It was worth it. It broke the computer, but it was worth it.
It's 1:36 on the John Phillips Show, Talk Radio 790 KABC. Coming up after the news at 2, I'm very excited to invite this guest on the program. We're going to be joined by Steve Inskeep, who is one of the morning news anchors over at NPR's All Things Considered. He has a book out about Abraham Lincoln that's fascinating. Normally, you see people who write books about dead politicians and their biographies, and you watch A&E, you kind of have an idea who that person was and what type of life they led. What Inskeep did with this book is a little bit different, and I think there's a lot of pearls of wisdom that could be used for what's going on in the world today. Abraham Lincoln apparently had a knack for taking people who he had adversarial relationships with and winning them over and manipulating them into doing what he wanted them to do through charm, through negotiation, and a variety of different ways. And what he does in the book is take a series of different relationships that Lincoln had that started out adversarial and ended up amicable, and he just walks you through the process as to how it happened. So he's going to be here to explain that to us at the top of the hour. It's certainly a can't miss. But right now it's time to open up the KABC Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And Randy, today's edition takes us to the other city by the bay.
That's right. It just seems to outdo itself every single week. It used to be that the crazy thing that you would never imagine is somebody stealing a car to slam it into a business to break into it in the city of Oakland. Well, that's old news. That's happening every day now. Here's one that's fun. Somebody stole a construction site backhoe and demolished the wall of an AM/PM to try to steal an ATM.
Was the cashier injured during the course of the robbery?
I think the cashier was okay.
If the cashier is dummy.
For more on this insane incident in the city that is known as...
It's Wild Wild West out here.
Here's a report from KGO.
Surveillance video showing a backhoe crashing through the bulletproof glass.
I couldn't tell if that was a backhoe crashing through the glass or the Tom Leykis show came back and someone wanted to get blown up.
This AM/PM store on West Grand Avenue in West Oakland on Monday morning. Watch as the backhoe is eventually used.
Just actually demolishing a building because you know that nobody's going to do anything about it.
You're destroying property that's going to cost tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix, because you hope that you'll be able to destroy the ATM and take out maybe what, a few $1,000s?
Oh my God, they melted the basketball court.
They're not the brightest bulbs.
As the backhoe is eventually used to tear apart the ATM.
They tore up the whole front. That's at least $70,000 worth of damage.
That is
$70,000 worth of damage to get an ATM that maybe has $3,000 in it.
And you have to steal a backhoe in the process.
Well, that part was easy. It's Oakland.
They tore up the whole front. That's at least $70,000 worth of damage.
That is Ali Abdullah. He is the owner of the AM/PM store that was damaged and chose not to show his face due to safety concerns. He says the clerk who is working is okay. Outdoor surveillance video shows the masked individuals first.
I got to imagine if you're minding your business in the middle of the night at an AM/PM and somebody drives a backhoe through your establishment, you're looking for a new job.
Yeah, but sometimes, especially in the bad neighborhoods, they have the cashier in what looks like a little bulletproof cage.
It's bulletproof, but it's not backhoe proof.
If the cashier is dummy.
No, it's not.
Outdoor surveillance video shows the masked individuals first breaking into the store with the backhoe, then backing a white pickup truck to the entrance. Soon they can be seen.
So they stole 2 cars for this one.
They stole the backhoe, and then they stole the truck, and neither time did they get caught, and they used both of those in the commission of this crime.
Pulling out a chain, which you can see. They then tried to connect to the damaged ATM. Abdullah says the chain was not long enough to connect to the ATM, so when the would-be thieves heard sirens, at least one jumped into the back of this pickup and drove off without even taking anything.
So nothing was stolen. They left the backhoe there. They destroyed the AM/PM.
Just another day in the city of Oakland.
And drove off without even taking anything.
I was born and raised in Oakland. I'm 51 years old. I've never seen nothing like this. I think the only way you can run a business in Oakland is you maybe have to, as soon as you close, you sleep in your store and stay locked and loaded with an AK-47 and just be ready.
Oh, boy.
Oh, that guy means business.
Criminals, maybe don't go back to this AM PM. Go to the 7-Eleven, go to the Circle K, go to the Extra Mile. Don't go back to AM PM.
Well, it sounds like if you do, there's going to be a shootout at the OK Corral.
I think the only way you can run a business in Oakland is you maybe have to, as soon as you close, you sleep in your store and stay locked and loaded with an AK-47 and just be ready because the police is not coming on time.
That sounds like a man who's lived through this before.
Because the police is not coming on time.
That might be a drop someday. Add to the Oakland Wall, which already is overloaded with such classics as
Oakland, I love you, but you don't love me.
Oakland, on the other hand, my God, you got to be nuts to live there.
Because the police is not coming on time. And I'm not blaming the police. There's just not enough of them out there.
Abdullah says he is frustrated by the thousands of dollars worth of damage to his store and also upset over what has happened to other businesses in Oakland. He wants to know where his tax dollars are going when it comes to public safety.
This is not what we were promised, the American dream. You know, I don't see the American dream. I think it's American nightmare right now.
if he wants to know where his tax dollars are going, they're going to Mayor Sheng Tao in a very, 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 very pathetic attempt to beg the Oakland A's to stay in Oakland.
Absolutely.
If you are the insurance company that has this man's policy and you're at a call center in some other state, you're wearing the headset, you're sitting in front of a computer, ring, ring, ring goes the phone at 2 a.m. And it's this gentleman on the other line. This is Mr. Abdullah. I'm the one that owns the AM PM in Oakland. Yes, I'm going to have to file a claim. You see, mass people in Oakland stole a backhoe from a construction site, and then they stole a truck. And they used the backhoe to demolish one of the sides of the AM PM so they could then tie a chain to the ATM and then the other end to the stolen truck so they could steal my ATM. They heard sirens, they panicked, and they left. I have $70,000 worth of damage. You can mail the check here. Do you think the woman in the call center over in Tampa is going to believe a word of that?
Oakland, I love you, but you don't love me.
When officers arrived, the backhoe was still there, but no signs of the vandals and a heavily damaged store. In Oakland, J.R. Stone, ABC 7 News.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have a wall anymore.
Imagine if that's your regular everyday AM PM and you're walking up to the AM PM to get your copy of the newspaper and your cup of coffee. And you say to yourself, wait, wasn't there a wall that used to be there?
Depending on which wall, it might not even be an AM PM anymore. It's just an A.
Well, we did fall back.
Because the police is not coming on time.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Robert writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Can Randy put Katie Porter in a Tickle Me Elmo suit? Because that's what she sounds like in that clip. Let's compare.
Hey, hello, everybody.
That's Katie Porter. That's Elmo.
Let's hear it again.
Hey, hello, everybody.
That's Katie. That's Elmo. And here's Hacksaw.
But first, a new poll just dropped that is all bad news for California Governor Gavin Newsom. Newsom's standing among California voters has hit an all-time low, with 49% disapproving of his performance as governor. Oh, yeah, you're going to have to do a lot more than that. This according to a new UC Berkeley Institute of Governmental Studies poll co-sponsored by the Los Angeles Times. Newsom's approval rating was 44%, down 11 points from February, according to the poll. His disapproval rating increased by 10 percentage points. And Randy, I think it should be pointed out that the results of this poll happened essentially after Gavin Newsom has given up on governing the state of California and is instead focusing on campaigning in other states for his gun control initiative, going to New York City to do the national television shows, and traveling around the globe to places like Israel and China to make himself look like a world leader.
Well, when you don't look like you're governing the state of California, it doesn't seem that complicated that voters would think you're not doing a great job as governor of the state of California.
That is something we are mindful of.
And think about the news cycle that's happened since he left the state. We had a woman get sexually assaulted in Long Beach by a homeless person, and his appointed district attorney decided to charge the man not with a felony, but with misdemeanor that included vandalism.
Quite frankly,
we have AMPMs in Oakland that are having the sides ripped off. None of it is good news.
No. And he was too busy not worrying about California. California's good on its own. He was going to go do stuff all over. He needed to do some gallivanting. He needed to get on some national press. By the way, did you see that, of all people, John Fetterman took a shot at Gavin Newsom?
Oh, yeah. Newsom denies running for president every time he's interviewed. But a man with brain damage could figure out that he's lying.
We're as dumb as we want to be.
All right, we've got one more hour coming up on the John Phillips Show. Don't you go anywhere. This is Talk Radio 790 KABC.